Let's talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's been linked to like half the league. Milan, Fiorentina, Bologna. So many goals. 53 in 58 games over 2 seasons in Major League Soccer. Where do you think he ends up?
I think he will come back to Italy. I have to say, I think he will go back to Serie A because right now I believe that's where the biggest contacts and the most concrete stuff is right now. I don't think he wants to go to a very exotic place like, I don't know, Boca Juniors or somewhere in China or somewhere in Australia or wherever. And I think Italy, for many reasons, because he played so well there, because he knows the country so well, he has great memories there, and I think the fans over there as well rate him so massively. And also maybe because he knows that in that league, maybe with less intensity, that, for example, coming back to England or, I don't know, going to Germany, for example, or even going back to Spain, maybe that's where he feels that he can bring the most, that he can score the more goals, that he can still show people that he can still do it, even at his age, and, you know, even after the last 3-4 years that he had. So, you know, I would believe that Serie A would be for him. Then I guess he would look for a big club, and Bologna, for example, or Fiorentina, big enough for him, and can they afford him? I'm not so sure, but I would definitely see him going back to Italy.
At 37 years old, he was good enough to dominate MLS. At 38, could he dominate Serie A?
I don't know about dominate Serie A, but I mean, he's one of those tough guys to bet against. I mean, I didn't think he was going to perform the way he did at Manchester United. I didn't necessarily expect for him to do as well as he did at the LA Galaxy and be, you know, but the way he plays now, I mean, he's not really running up and down the pitch. He kind of finds himself in good spots. He still has the physical ability to outmuscle a defender, create a little bit of space for himself, and he's proven a little bit of space is all he needs to be able to score something spectacular.
I totally agree with Jules. I think some of the clubs mentioned, I would be surprised because I just don't think they're big enough in his mind for where he wants to go.
The Serie A clubs I mentioned, the ones Milan,
we laughed about this
Bologna.
earlier, and I'm being serious here, and I'm not suggesting it's going to happen. But we laughed earlier before the show when we talked about Jurgen Klopp had been asked about it. And I personally think that this is something I think could work short term. Now, I know it doesn't fit their style with the pressing game and all that, but they have nobody else, literally, after Roberto Firmino, right? And don't tell me, please don't anybody say to me, Divock Origi.
I was just about to say Divock Origi.
But you're talking about Liverpool trying to get over the line in the Premier League for what, 20-odd years?
Right.
You sometimes just need something different. And we're talking about a guy who would maybe only be coming off the bench now and again for 20 minutes, half an hour, and just bringing something different. That little bit of quality. Nobody's asking him to run around. Nobody's asking him to close teams down for the first hour of a game. But I really think he could still offer something to a team like that for 6 months towards the end of the season. I don't suggest it will happen, but I'm saying, for me, that would be a very good... If I'm looking at the bench and I'm Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, because we know he's not going to Man City, right? Sure. Him and Pep don't like each other. But if I'm looking for something different and I'm struggling in a game and it's tight and it's not happening, there's not many better, even at his age, than coming off and doing something a little bit magical. And I still think in his mind, he thinks that's what he can do.
The question mark is, does he feel that he could come off and be a bit part player?
Well,
and that's
a big question.
That's a big question
when it comes to Zlatan. Let's move on. Look, speaking of former PSG forwards, potentially former PSG forwards, Edinson Cavani may join that list soon. And in fact, he's been rumored as a replacement for Zlatan with the LA Galaxy. Those agents seems to be shutting it down here. Eddie still has 3 years to play at the highest level, and he can play in any major team in Europe. So where is Cavani going, Jules? Or is there a chance that maybe he could even stay at PSG?
Right now, he's not going to stay at PSG. They won't offer him a new deal. That's what sources are telling us. We wrote it a few weeks ago already. That might change, although the dynamic right now with Mauro Icardi doing so well and Edinson Cavani spending a lot of time injured doesn't look like anything is going to change. His brother says he's got 3 more years in a top club in Europe. Maybe, but from what I've seen the last 6 to 8 months, he's been a lot injured and hasn't been scoring as much as he has in the past, for example. So maybe an Atletico Madrid, maybe going back somewhere to it in Italy will suit him, and he might do well there. I still think that his best years might be behind him, although he scored with Uruguay during this international break, so it's not all gone. However, I do believe that one day he will go to MLS, but maybe just before going across the Atlantic, he might want a few more seasons in Europe somewhere.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.